spiritual family, let me say this before I start talking. It is safe for me to speak. It is safe for me to be seen. I am protected by my ancestors, held by the universe, and guided by my soul. My story will heal, not just me, but others. I'm not ashamed of my past. I am the first light in a long line of silence. I release fear and embrace my rise. I say, I am at the beach. So, still trying to figure out when I do these videos. If I pull the camera down, it's because people are walking through here and I don't want to put them on my camera. So you will see the sand at times. So, I'm going to speak a little bit about how my spiritual journey began. I'm also going to say other things that come to mind. Again, like I said in my last video, whatever just comes to mind, I'm going to say. So that's how it's going to go. I'm still not, I don't know. I don't know as far as these videos, how they're going to go. I'm still trying to get in the rhythm of when to post them, how long they're going to be. So bear with me, right? We're all learning here. So to begin my spiritual journey, everything I know now, looking back in my life since I was a child, I've always known I was spiritual. Me seeing and where I'm at now. However, how I came into my awakening was in October of 2021. I got a phone call, not really a phone call, it was a text message at the job I was at. And the text message said, you know, my sister had passed away. I'm sorry. And I stopped what I was doing and I had to look at it again because I was in disbelief, like, what? And I had told staff that was around me that I needed to step outside and I needed to make a phone call. So I made a phone call and it was confirmed and my sister had passed away. So that was one of the worst days of my life. I don't really want to get too much into that because even though it's been a couple of years now, I still am sensitive about speaking on her. Just because, you know, it's like, we all know, you know, death happens. And she was the first person in my family to pass. And it just hits different when it's a sibling. It's a feeling I can't describe the best without being super emotional about it. However, I went and seen my sister and I was in disbelief. However, not even probably the next day or maybe 2 days after is when she started coming to me. She was in my dreams. And my sister came in my dreams 14 times. And every time she came into my dreams, she gave me a message. I didn't understand. However, the more she came, the more I started noticing things. Like that's when I started seeing angel numbers. And granted, I know that angel numbers were here the whole time. I never paid attention. I never seen them like I seen them when she passed away. It was like a light was turned on. All these messages she was telling me, I didn't know how to break them down. The first few messages I didn't know, but I was seeing angel numbers. I started having visions of other things, like I would say like days, like somebody's day. Somebody said that they did it this day, and I said, before they would tell me their day, I said, well, this is what I dreamed about, and this is what I seen in the dream. And they would just confirm that, that's what I did yesterday, or something like that. But my sister, she did that to me. She gave me these eyes to see beyond the physical world. And in my family, I knew that my family had seen different spirits and stuff when we were younger. We had my mother told me stories. My oldest brother would tell us stories about different spirits and things that they have seen. And so as a kid, we always had those stories. And my family, they came from a long line of that. My mother told me stories about her and the neighbor, or not her, but my grandmother and the neighbor used to, put spells on each other. And the land that she owned, that sometimes, I guess when they walk, there'd be money that come up, and different type of spirits that they seen if, they were mad. They're just, all of that was stories. So basically, I wasn't scared of it. And when I told my family about this, and I told them as soon as I seen them, it was, no one really believed me. Everybody thought I was crazy. However, a lot of the things that my sister showed me, it was things that happened already, or it didn't happen, or it was a message that she needed to tell me about our relationship or relationship with other families. So that's really how it began. And not even was it October, her birthday was in November, in December, I met my twin flame. I'm not going to get into that, but everything started just happening. I started studying, and my intuition started to get very strong. And from then on, I had books all over my bedroom floor. I had notebooks, and I was studying and reading and studying and reading and looking for different people that were spiritual, advanced spiritual, and trying to see if I could connect with the things that was going on with me to what they were saying. And that's really how I got into it. And just since then, I've been in it more and more. I've seen things. My dreams a lot of my dreams have been about other people, things that have happened or things that haven't happened yet, but happen later down the road, or messages for me to be aware of something, or I need to get something out of my life. It was just like my dreams, they happen a lot. I write them down, and I'm not scared of anything. I see things sometimes being awake, but that's pretty much how it began. I just researched and studied, and I really started getting into astrology and numerology, and I still study these things, because one thing about spirituality that I know is you will never know enough. And research is a constant thing, especially when you are clairvoyant. You want answers. And at the beginning, I used to tell everybody. I was the one like, hey, I seen this and I seen that, this and that, whatever. I had all these stories. I just wanted to tell everybody, because it was like a new awakening for me, And I've learned now that that's not what you should do. And now I don't say too much anymore. I keep a lot to myself. I'm very, like I've told you guys before, I'm a very private person. I'm very detached from society in a sense. Everything I do alone. I write a lot, I read a lot, I research a lot. I'm learning more and more every day about myself and spirituality. After about a year and a half later, my dad passed away. My dad passed away in May of 2023. And it was different with him. See, my dad was sick, and it had a lot to do with, he was a truck driver, and I guess he was on the road one time, and he went to the back to open up the door, and wherever he was, I can't remember what state he was, but the wind was so bad, it just blew him down. He broke his hip, and from that point, it just kind of was like a downhill from there. However, with my dad, I made sure that I told him everything, how I felt about him and how I appreciated him, and I made sure he knew, because when my sister passed away, I didn't say that to her, and it was unexpected. So I'm not hurt by that, because when my sister came to me, we talked and we hugged. So the closure we and her needed, we got. My sister was literally one of the closest people to me in my entire life. When I say that was a twin, that was my twin for real. And we did everything together. And there was a time where we didn't talk. And so I want to say this more to women than anything. Like, don't let anybody come in between your relationship with your family or friends when you have a great connection. I'm not talking about just like, oh, I see him, I don't. I'm talking about when you know you two do everything together. It's like a yin and yang type of situation. You grew up together, you're tight, you never left each other's side. Don't let any outsiders come in between that. Not no man, no woman, nobody. Because sometimes, granted we were younger, you know, people can be misled, and somebody who's very envious of a relationship can come in between that and say things that are not true and put a divide between y'all. And that's kind of what happened. I don't really too much want to get into that. But anyways, I didn't get to say what I wanted to say to her when she was alive. So I just recommend that if you have a strong relationship with somebody, don't let nobody come in between that and try to conquer and divide, no matter who they are, right? So anyways, back to my dad. I made sure that I everything that I felt, I told him. And I told him while he was alive. How I found out that he passed away, my aunt sent me a text while I was walking. And she said, "I'm sorry about your dad, Neha." And I was like, what? And I don't remember if I texted her or called her. But she said, and this was a Monday. I will never forget it. It was a Monday. She was like, "You didn't know?" I said, "No, I didn't know." She said, "Well, you know, your mom said something to me, and he passed away yesterday, which was Sunday." And I'm not going to get into that, because I love my mom, I love my family, I do, but I just don't want to get into that part. So anyways, I went to the funeral home, and I seen my dad, and I looked at him, and I hugged him, and I laid on his chest. But there was a sense of peace that I had with him, because everything that I said to him while he was alive. You know, I had peace though. But there was still part of me that I wondered, like, did he make it? Is he okay? My dad had a hard life. My dad had a life that he allowed other people to determine his outcome. And he could have changed it, but he didn't. He had so much love that he couldn't see past that, even when it was toxic. So I always wondered, when he passed, it was in my heart, my emotions were so extreme. I was just like, like, I need something, tell me something. My dad came to me 4 times with my sister. The first time he came with my brother, who my brother's alive. But the crazy thing is, he showed me a whole scene with my brother, and the next day my brother called. Like, that's what my dad did. So that was some spiritual stuff there. And the other 2 times, it was with my sister, and it was with it was with a baby. And at that time, I didn't know who the baby was. I had a very clear picture of it, of the baby. Not the first time. The first time, the baby was crawling under on a bed, crawling under a blanket, and my sister was trying to grab the baby. My dad was standing up against the wall. I didn't understand that. But the next time, I seen the baby's face, and it was a boy. And I can describe it to this day. Moving forward now, I had somebody that I was talking to probably like last year, and I told them about it. And this person started crying. And it was a family member. And they told me about them losing a baby, and it was a boy. So I was hurt. But that's what that dream meant. But the last time that I seen my dad, well, wait a minute. I just seen my dad the other day, which is so odd because I haven't seen him in so long. But he appeared in my dream the other day, and I'm still trying to decipher that message. So I'm not going to say that was the last time I seen him, a couple days ago. But before that, the last time I seen him, and I had these emotions about, was he okay? My dad was also a mechanic. He fixed cars. He was a great mechanic. And my dream, I was in the parking lot of Walmart, and he grabbed my hand, and he walked me to the automotive section, and he smiled at me, and he said he was okay. And I woke up. So I knew that he was okay, and he came to tell me that. He told me that. And this crazy thing about it is, before this time 2 days ago, my sister came 14, my dad came 4, which is 144. So I know that I am exactly where I need to be in my life. I know who I am, and I know all these things that happened to me is for a reason, right? So that's how my spirituality really began. And looking back on my life, it's so crazy because there is this lady, I don't know her name to this day. This is when I was in my 20s. And I seen her like every year. This lady would just pop up out of nowhere. I don't know where she came from. Like I said, I don't even know her name, but I could describe her very well. She was a Caucasian woman. And every time she came to me, she would come into me in any store, and she would walk up to me, and she would grab my shoulder, and she was like, "You're so sweet. You have a loving heart. You're just so good." And she would start crying. And I was weirded by it because I'm like, who is this lady? And is she on drugs? I didn't know who I was at that time. But that lady, I would see her, it would be once a year, maybe a couple months, I don't know, but she would come out of nowhere. I don't even know where that lady came from. I didn't see her go to no car or nothing. But every time she came to me, that's what she would say. She would hug me, she would cry, like hysterically cry, and just tell me, you have a loving heart, you're so sweet, you're so, you're wonderful. She would just say that to me. And then when I was a teenager, I was with my boyfriend at the time, and we was living in a house. I've been on my own for a very long time. My mother was very strict, and she definitely really gave us a lot of tools. You know what I'm saying? We had my own apartment when I was 17 years old. Me and my sister lived together in the apartment. So she was Capricorn. So about Capricorns, they don't play. Anyways, so me and my boyfriend was sitting on the couch, and there was a family member in the other room, a baby actually. And the baby would, when the baby wanted to get out the room, it was a small baby in the crib. She would get out the crib and she would shake the door because she couldn't open the door. She would like to shake it, so we would hear like a shake, shake, shake sound. And so we knew, okay, she wants to get out of the room. So at this time, this happened. I was playing video games. I'll never forget it. Yeah, I am a gamer. I love video games. So at this time, we was on the game, and we heard the door going shake, 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 right? So I told him, I said, go get her. And so he went and got her, and he came back, and his face looked like he literally saw a ghost. He was just stuck like a deer in headlights. I'm like, what's wrong? He was like, she's still in the crib sleeping. I'm like, you lying. I woke, I got up off the couch and went into that room, and the baby was still in the crib sleeping. So that was another, sign for me, but I didn't pick up on it, right? I was just thinking that it was a lot of negative energy. That relationship was toxic, and I know that in my family and the stories they told me, when you are around a lot of negative energy like that, you can bring in bad spirits, and I believe that, So I thought that's what it was. And at that time, his mother was like, she was a Christian. She came over there, and I don't know, she said something, and she blessed the house or whatever with some oil or something. I don't know. But that's not what it was. But that was another thing that happened to me. Like I said, looking now, I'm back into my life. Like, I always been spiritual. I just never knew it. So that's really my story. Small version of it. Again, I don't know how long these videos should be. I want to say this. People are trash. They really are. It's rare that you find, genuine people. And I've probably said it before, and I will always say that because this is true. But the thing about when you grow up, when your life turns a different lane, and you do different things, and you leave people behind. Some people do not understand growth, right? And I'm going to say this not just with the people that you left behind, like friends or relationships, but this is also strangers that do this, because this has happened to me before, and it still happens to me now. People feel so entitled to your presence. People feel like you can't move on and want better for yourself without having to still hold on to your past. And this might be repetitive, but I'm going to say it again. There is nobody in my past but one person, and I will say her name down the road, and I'm going to do it now. But there's nobody in my past that I want to reunite with. I've outgrown that. See, we change, we grow. And there's people that I might see that I used to be friends with and won't say nothing to them. I'm done with that chapter of my life. I will always be thankful for everything that I have been through and everything that's got me to this point. But what I'm not going to do is go back in my past and bring anybody to my future. Why? Because 10 out of 10, people in your past, they're nosy. They're going to want to know your business, what you've been up to, what you've been doing. I don't want to update you on what I'm doing, especially if your life hasn't evolved since the last time we hung out, which has been years, right? And you'll get these people that'll get in their feelings and want to start talking about you. And it doesn't make sense, but it happens. And the thing is, some of those people, it could be just one person, it could be a couple, but they will be so in their feelings, so mad that you ain't giving them no type of attention, that they will start talking about your past and come up with these lies that are not true. They try to make it seem like they're a victim of something, or you just wasn't a shit ass person. So if you go through that, and I'm learning this now, don't give it energy. Let them say what they're gonna say, because if anybody had any common sense, they would see why they're doing these things. Why are they saying these things? You know, well, they're mad because you don't give them attention. Why people feel entitled, I do not know, and I don't care. Even now, how it relates now is at work. Hold on a second. I'm gonna put this down because people are walking past me, so give me a second. When I go on a job, anywhere I go, it is business for me. I do not believe in business and your personal life being combined. I believe business is business, your personal life is personal life, and they should always be separate. Me, I will go into work. I will go into work, and this has happened so many times, and I would literally sit up and I would say, I am a loner. I do not talk about my personal life, and I don't want to talk about anybody's personal life. I'm only here for business. If there's anything here that has to do with the job, I'm a team player. I will help you. I will do all of this, right? I'll help you any type of way. I'm like, I have a resting bitch face. I don't even know how the times that I have it. I'm just saying, don't be intimidated by it. Just come and talk to me anyways, because you're 10 out of 10. I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about that, right? Tell people exactly who you are, what you are, and what you're not going to do. And still, they get in their feelings as if you owe them a conversation. This happens to me all the time. Then they get upset, especially if I do find somebody that I talk to, but I don't be talking to any people about my personal business. They think I do, but I don't. They get mad. Then they start creating drama, like these things are happening, but they're really not. Then they go and tell, and then management believes them, and then it becomes a whole different situation. Like, people need to stop that. You are not entitled to anybody's personal business. And if you have a problem with somebody telling you that they are not here to be your friend, they are not here to talk about their personal life, and they really are in their own world, minding their business, that is a mental illness. If you have a problem with somebody being to themselves, that's a mental illness if you think you're entitled to somebody's conversation. Now, granted, if I was ugly and I was 500 pounds, nobody would care if I was by myself not wanting to deal with them. It's because how I look. You think anybody's gonna admit that? No, because everybody wants to act like, oh, I'm not jealous, I'm not that, but you are. When you sit up and try to make someone else's life your business, when they blatantly told you, this is how I am, this is how you handle me, and then they want to do the opposite and get in their feelings, they make up these stories that are not true, and people believe stuff. Like, I hate liars. I do. I have literally lost jobs from bullying, because all that is bullying type stuff. I have lost jobs because of things that staff made up that wasn't true. Everybody knew what it was, but no one wanted to say that. But how people are so jealous is, instead of investigating what's going on, you just want to terminate me. Or I have to walk out the job because I can't deal with that. So, going off to another subject, I've told you guys this many times. I am not a girl's girl. I am not, and I never will be. Majority of my life, I've had too many problems with women. However, I will stand by women when women are right. And I will stand by men when men are right. But when you're wrong, I don't care what gender you are, I'm going to let you know you're wrong. And I'm not standing behind that. So that is where my stance is. However, when it comes to what men say, and I've repeated myself, and I'm going to say it again. When men say women cannot handle the truth, they are 100% right. I've never met a woman like me. I've never ever met a woman like me. I'm the type of woman that, honey, you can tell me straight the truth to my face. I prefer it that way. I prefer it that way. But I notice majority of women, when you do tell them the truth and you do tell them this is how I am, they cannot handle rejection. And it's not rejection. I just don't feel like I need to talk to you. What are we going to talk about? Half the times that people are talking, they're gossiping, and I don't like that. So I don't want to be a part of that. But even though I tell you to your face how I am and how you can deal with me, you still come up with a problem in your head because you are that jealous and you feel so entitled that I need to be in your face telling you something about my life. It is BS. And I've been through that my whole life. And I still go through it now. So I have to side with men when men say that about women because it's the truth. However, I'm learning on my spiritual journey. What I'm learning and what I'm working on is not letting that bother me. See, it bothers me when a lie comes after it. It doesn't bother me that people, no matter what gender, because a couple men have done this to me too. It doesn't matter you want to be petty and you think you're entitled. I don't care about none of that. You can sit on the corner and cry to your mammy. I don't care about that. But I do care when you say my name and you attach a lie to it to try to discredit me for your own dysfunction and your insecurities. That's wrong. And I have been through it a lot. And I just went through this stuff last week. Like, I don't believe it will ever leave me because the light I hold. The more you stay away from people, the more they want to be attached to you. And it just can't happen like that. You know? But again, spiritual journey is continuous. It just doesn't stop because you have visions or because you hear things or you smell things. Those things, it doesn't stop. You still have to keep creating the life that you want. And you still have to learn more about yourself, you know? So that thing there, I'm learning on how to not react so much. But it really is the lie. Somebody I knew years ago, I just found out that this person was telling other people some lies about me that didn't even happen. And it was meant for me to find out. It was meant for me to find out. And I didn't confront it. I didn't. But what I did tell the person that did tell me that, I just said, listen, that didn't happen. And if it did happen, the next time my name is brought up, ask them location, ask them dates, ask them those things. Because they're not going to be able to tell you because it didn't happen. So, because I no longer want to deal with you, I don't talk to you, we don't run in the same circle. If I see you, I wouldn't speak to you. You're that mad that you don't get no type of attention from me, that you're just going to talk about some lies. And then you're going to talk about lies that happened when I was a teenager. Like, what? That didn't happen. But you know how long ago it was since I was a teenager? And you're talking about stuff like that? And fortunately, there are grown people around that seen it for what it was. But just think the people that are still immature and that love the gossip. They would have took that and ran with it. And I believe like the only reason people sit up here and talk about people's past and try to tarnish their name and add stuff that wasn't even there is because they are hurt. They feel entitled. They think no matter how much you grow, you should always reach back and acknowledge them. Well, that doesn't happen in my world. And I'm not trying to be mean. I am not going to take my past with me to my future. That is insane. I'm not doing that. So, like I said in the last video, I'll tell my own story. Whatever lies come with that, it is what it's going to be. You can't stop people from lying. You know what I mean? You just can't do it. But like I said, when these people do come, you're going to see the type of people you ain't going to want in your circle at all. So, yeah, that's kind of all I had to say today. That's all that's coming to me. If you are just now beginning your spiritual journey and you are like kind of confused about things that's going on with you, one, don't tell everybody. Sit with yourself, talk to the universe, and just talk, ask for guidance, and do a lot of research. And use your discernment when you go look for people that are more advanced in their spirituality. There's always a message. Good people are going to give you a message, bad people are going to give you a message. Take what resonates with you and apply it. Always do your research. Don't take any advice head on. Do your own research. Because what I interpretate, your interpretation might be different. You know what I mean? You got to remember, spirituality is about yourself. It's not about other people. It's about you, your growth, and that's what it's about. You. Everything that you want will come to you, but you have to do the work on yourself first. You can't be an unhealed soul and expect to have this great life and all the things you want are going to be at your feet. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. And you're not perfect. None of us are. So you're going to make mistakes and all those things are going to happen. Okay? That's just part of the journey. But don't be afraid of anything. Ask questions. Do a lot of meditation. You know, wherever your soul feels comfort at, go there. Like me being out here, this is where my soul feels comfort at. I'm the outdoors person. I love the water. I love nature. You know, this is what brings me peace. I wash my crystals here. I meditate here. I'm good. So this is video 2. And I don't know. I hope somebody can take something from these videos that I do. And I'm sorry about them being long. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just doing it. Namaste.